Hello, my name is Scott Perry. I'm a professional magician and this is a magic review.
It's a kind of magic.
Today we're looking at Switch 1 by Christian Grace. The too long didn't read of this is that it's a fantastic product. It's well worth the money. However, there are a couple of fine points that are very important that will be at the end of this video in the additional information and tips. I encourage you to watch this review the whole way through to make sure that you either spend your money wisely or save your money in this situation. So stick with me. The too long didn't read is that it's really fantastic, but it's very important that you do watch this whole review. So what is Switch 1? Switch 1 is essentially having a single folded card on the table. In the instructional video or in the trailer of the magic trick, it's underneath a glass. Anyone thinks of one playing card, it can be any playing card almost, and when you open up the card, it's the one card that the spectator thought of. That's the magic trick. That's what you're paying for. There are lots of different routines, and Christian goes over a couple of routines in the instructional video, but that is the magic trick in itself. That's the effect. It's a single thought of playing card reveal. What do you receive or what do you get with Switch 1? Well, I will show you. This is what you receive with Switch 1. It's a index system. So it comes as a kind of folded wallet like this. You open it up and you see the index pockets lining both sides. It also has one large pocket here, one large pocket here, so on either side, and then it also has a billfold style opening here. There are also magnets in the end so that it has a magnetic closure which can close either this way or this way. This way is very important for the routine, but I'll go over that in a short while. So that is what you receive. It's an index system. You do receive something else which is not a physical item. It's actually the instructions and the method of doing Christian's unique and very, very good, very interesting, very slick switch of a playing card. So they're the two things that you actually receive with Switch 1, as well as the instructional video, which is very good. He covers pretty much everything that you could need to know in very good, high quality studio environment. Now, how easy is Switch 1? Switch 1 isn't particularly difficult, but it is going to require practice. Some hours, some days, some weeks, potentially some months of performing this on a regular basis to really get it to a point where you're performing it well. So there are a couple of points that I should make out here in terms of how easy it is to do. So with the index system that Christian goes through, it's going to take you some time to become familiar. Now you may have your own system that you want to arrange the cards or billets or whatever index you decide to use. You may have your own system, but if you are brand new to this kind of magic trick that uses an index, then it is going to take some time and it's not going to be an easy, quick process. I say not easy, the process is very easy, it is very simple, but it's going to take some time to get used to. That's the thing. So yes, not too difficult, but it's going to take an investment of time. That's the gimmick. The switch that Christian teaches you on the instructional video is going to take quite a bit of practice. The move itself is quite knacky, so I'm going to try and show you the switch right now. So the switch looks like this. We have a red card just here, and then that gets opened up and it's now a blue card. So that's the switch, and that's with you know, a couple of weeks of practicing a little bit each day. There is one really important point that I'll say for the end of the video in the extra tips and information about this. However, the switch is fantastic. You don't have to use Christian's switch. There are other switches that you could use for the switch, but Christian's method and teaching on this switch is really fantastic, and it's probably something that you're going to use for other routines as well, potentially. not just the switch 1 routine. This brings us to the reset time of switch 1. You can potentially rinse and repeat switch 1. You have lots of options, so you can actually choose from quite a large selection of playing cards from a pack of cards. There is some routining in there to guide people somewhat, but there is a lot of freedom. So you could repeat the same trick twice if you wanted to. Of course, as a professional magician, I would never advise that. Repeating a magic trick for an audience is just going to be more and more underwhelming the more times you do it. And they're going to be looking for more and more things that they find in the patterns. So I would advise not to do that, but it is possible. And resetting the index will take a few moments, maybe 20 seconds or 60 seconds or something. So the reset time is pretty fast and not something that you have to worry about, to be honest. It's a very suitable magic trick for close-up, for parlor, for even table hopping, I would say, if you really wanted to. If you wanted to turn a glass up so that the base is on the top and the opening of the wine glass is on the table, and then you put a folded up card on the top of the glass, I think that would work perfectly like that table hopping. So the reset time is pretty fast. Now moving swiftly on to the angles. The angles are pretty good. So I would say 180 degrees, and then I would also say that 360 degrees, depending on whether you have anyone taller than you or potentially shorter than you, looking up or down from behind. So you do not want anyone looking at your hands from this angle, from behind. So if you do find yourself in that situation, all that you would do is bring your hands closer to your chest, and that would bring you to a 360-degree performance, which is great. You can't ask for more from the angles of a magic trick. It's very well covered. Now to touch on pocket space. So this is an interesting one. You cannot perform this with certain clothing. Christian does teach a way of performing this without some kind of suit jacket. However, I personally don't think it's realistic to have something like this sat, down by your side or on your seat or underneath a table like this. I really don't think that that's a realistic way of performing. If you're doing a set show or a parlor performance, potentially, but that's not where I think this magic trick hits the hardest. So I don't think that is feasible, in my opinion. So pocket space wise, this will take up a interior pocket of a jacket. However, it doesn't have to be a suit jacket. So for instance, I have a Levi's denim jacket that on the inside of the jacket itself, it has a big pocket. So this could sit quite nicely on that big pocket, and I could perform it in a casual setting with my Levi's denim jacket. So there are certain jackets, however, this hangs in the main instructions. This hangs on the inside jacket pocket of your suit jacket. So it will take up a reasonable amount of pocket space. You could have it in a side pocket. It's not advisable, but the way that it's taught on the instructions is on the inside of a jacket pocket. So yes, this cannot really be performed in short sleeves or without a jacket. Christian does also teach a way of having it in your back pocket, but again, I really couldn't recommend performing in that way with having this big leather index just hanging out of your back pocket. So yes, pocket space wise, it will take up an entire pocket of a suit jacket or another kind of jacket which has an area on the inside that you can hang this index system. My final thoughts on Switch 1 are that it's really fantastic. So I've been a professional magician for over 10 years and I knew what I was buying. I didn't know the method to the switch that Christian teaches, which we'll come on to in a second, to a really important point. And that was something that I was interested in learning. However, I knew that I was getting an index system. I have another index system from Colin Rose at Five of Hearts Magic Productions, which I actually have a review of that. I'll link that at the end of this video, which is kind of similar to this. It's another index system, but it's a completely separate routine by Wayne Dobson, which is fantastic as well. However, I wanted a new index system, and this is exactly the kind of thing that I was looking for. So if you don't know what you're looking for, then perhaps this would surprise you, which is why I've shown the gimmick, because it's not a gimmick. It's not something that works on its own. It's not something that accomplishes, it's not a gimmick that accomplishes a magic trick. It's actually a tool that you're receiving that helps you achieve an effect. So yes, I don't like the way that the phrase gimmick was used within the marketing of Switch 1, because it's really not a gimmick. That's not what you're receiving. However, it will last a lifetime, so that's good. But yes, my final thoughts on the index system itself is that it's fantastic for a working magician. It's a fantastic item. However, the switch, it is very difficult for me to perform. So if you're like myself and you have slender fingers and you have lots of windows in your fingers, that makes the switch very, very difficult to perform. Also, if you have small hands, it's equally very difficult to perform. In the nature of the moves that you're performing, I found it very difficult. And to be honest, with the Switch 1 routine, I'm not sure that I'm actually going to use the switch that Christian teaches. As good as it is, it just doesn't work with my hands. If you have larger hands and you have fleshy pads on your fingers, where you have fuller fingers, wider fingers, where you don't have many gaps, and also larger hands, because that's very important in the placement of the cards for the switch, then it will work fine. But like I say, if you have small hands with windows between your fingers like I do, it's very difficult to perform the switch and not get caught with it, and also to perform the switch properly because of the position of the cards. It's just very difficult if you have small hands. So if you're buying this with small hands with lots of windows and you don't perform with a suit jacket, you're wasting your money. Do not buy this. However, if you have windows within your fingers and you have slender hands, you can still perform it. You just need to think about potentially using other switches. But also, if you're performing with suit jackets, or if you're performing with certain other kinds of jackets where you can hang the index on the inside, then it's a fantastic product. For the price point, it's really good. It's probably going to be something that if you give it the time that it deserves, you'll be performing for the rest of your life. It's a fantastic magic trick. Those are my final thoughts. Do what you will with that. Leave a comment below, or if you have a question, feel free to ask a question, and I'll do my best to answer as quickly as possible. But yes, buy it, don't buy it, that's entirely your decision. I've just tried to give you as much information as I could about Switch 1 so that you can make an informed decision on your purchase. That's the review today. I'll see you in the next one.